can you give us a sense of what the U.S. policy or what you're trying to achieve with the aircraft carriers, or the boats, I should say, in near Venezuela, and also the boat that you mentioned yesterday where 11 people were killed? What was found on that boat, and why were the men killed instead of taken into
On the boat, you had massive amounts of drugs. We have tapes of them speaking. It was massive amounts of drugs coming into our country to kill a lot of people. And everybody fully understands that. In fact, you see it. You see the bags of drugs all over the boat. And they were hit. Obviously, they won't be doing it again. And I think a lot of other people won't be doing it again when they watch that tape.
Dale Jackson here for Yellowhammer Now. And if you think Democrats are dumb when it comes to fighting crime, well, wait until you hear about fighting terrorism, because they're even dumber on that. Yes, we've all seen all the protesting and stuff that went on over the weekend in Washington, D.C., screaming about how dare Donald Trump make their city safer. They need to make sure that those federal officers and the National Guard get out of there. Those criminals are having a hard time right now, so they got to defend them. Now, it looked like a bunch of pink-haired weirdos and a bunch of folks who have been released from an insane asylum for people over the age of 65, but it doesn't matter. They were out there protesting and insisting that they let us go back to where we were on crime in D.C. and let more people be killed. But forget about that for a second. They've also decided to be very dumb on narco-trafficking terrorists. Yes, the left is furious that Donald Trump is killing people who want to bring poison to our shores.
But there was military action taken in America's backyard by the Trump administration. Vice President Vance says killing cartel members who poison our fellow citizens is the highest and best use of our military. He was talking about a strike on a drug boat, alleged drug boat off the coast of Venezuela. What do you make of that show of force?
It was an illegal move by the Trump administration. There's a thing called due process in this country, and that needed to have happened. And the fact that it happened in international order, in international waters, actually opens Americans to a similar action by our adversaries. We were just talking about Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping and getting together and showing a show of force against the United States. Well, there's nothing now to stop them from doing something like that against Americans in international waters, and it could be civilians, and they could say, you know what? Those were drug boats. We're just going to go ahead and blow them out of the water.
How is this remotely different from 2002, 2003 neocon ideology, neocon rhetoric, neocon discourse, neocon mentality, neocon legal justifications? What is the objections at this point that MAGA has to Bush-Cheney neoconservatism?
Seems to have happened here. It's just murder. I mean, murder, even if one never picked up a legal dictionary, it seems like it's murder. And it seems like it's murder, and then just to drill down, in the very way in which the Defense Department would define murder, based on the Defense Department's pretty narrow but well-settled views of international law.
Venezuela flies military aircraft close to U.S. military ships in what the Pentagon calls a provocative move. And based off of comments and actions from the U.S. in the last few days, it looks like the U.S. is setting itself up to get beat down. They look like they are trying to start a war with a country that in reality they cannot win. And they're starting a war under false pretense.
So did y'all know that Venezuela has the highest oil reserves in the entire world? I'm gonna let you sit with that tidbit of information so that you can figure out for yourself why all of this is happening right now.
Now, what you saw there was a mix of individuals who are on cable television and on social media. Not necessarily the best depiction of human beings in any stretch, but it doesn't matter. It goes to show you that if Donald Trump is doing it, it must be bad. And that includes lowering crime and killing narco-terrorists. JD Vance, of course, talked about this, had some interesting words. People were mad about that, too.
JD Vance tweeted, "Killing cartel members who poison our fellow citizens is the highest and best use of our military," to which a liberal commentator, Brian Krasenstein, responded, "Killing the citizens of another nation who are civilians without any due process is called a war crime." And then JD Vance responded, quote, "I don't give a shit what you call it." Scott Jennings, thoughts?
Well, I'll give you my political view of how I think most Americans are going to view it, and most Republicans certainly, and that is that societal decline is a choice. And when you let people come into the country by the millions, when you let drugs flow over the border and you just say, well, let's just get them here and then see how the bureaucracy sorts it out, most people want a more aggressive response. Societal decline is a choice, and they see this illegal immigration problem and this drug flow problem as part of overall societal decline, and they are hoping and looking for and happy with Trump and Vance taking a muscular response to this.
Now, I fully expect our friends on the left to continue this trend of if Donald Trump is for it, I'm against it, be it out of control illegal immigration, crime, or killing terrorists. Please continue, because if you keep doing this, sane human beings will say, you know what? I can't get on board with anything you want because this stuff is so crazy. That basically describes how you got Donald Trump twice. So please, please keep doing it.